What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Scyushi, and we are back here for some more Trove. How you doing today, my fellow reptiles and fellow lizards? I hope you're doing fantastically wonderful, and I hope this video makes your day even better. Hashtag reptilians taking over the earth? No question mark. It's happening right now. I am slowly in the process of leading my kingdom the charge to destroy this land of humans. Anyways, who cares? Today we're going to be talking about LUXION's inventory, which is absolutely beautiful. And I want to give you guys and gals a heads up that there is actually an event going on right now. I'll have had the event guide video already come out. But basically what's going to happen is LUXION finally is acting the way that he always should. I would wish that he would act like this from now into the future, because this is what we've always wanted from LUXION. He's basically going to be here for the entire 3-week duration of the event. And every Tuesday, every week, he's going to be cycling his items out for a bunch of new items. Which is how LUXION should just be from henceforth, isn't it? Like, especially with the fact that they want us to be spending all of our dragon coins. Like, why not? So, the items out of his inventory, they're not fantastic, but they're pretty good. Most of all, I'm looking at these LUXION style stashes, because these are bad, dude. Bad in a good way, you know? Like, good bad. Bad wrong. Let me go and find myself a stupid... Why are there no cornerstones in this stinking game, dude? Like, I just gotta find a personal chest. Here's a cornerstone of some freaks that I can't get inside. What about this one over here? Will this have a personal chest, please? There it is. Okay, so we've got 6 of them. 1 of them you get out of the event, and 5 of them you can buy out of LUXION's inventory. And what this item is going to do is be absolutely awesome, because it is going to unlock a random seasonal mount, or seasonal item, I should say. A seasonal item, an event item, a pinata, you know, whether it's just a pinata or even just one of the pinata styles, or a LUXION equipment style you don't already have unlocked. I don't know what that means. I guess what it means is, you know how sometimes LUXION will end up selling equipment style items? So, like, I know Joe, for example, ended up actually getting the Shamrock Pinata headpiece because he didn't have it because it was selling for like a super duper whole lot back in the day. I think that's what he said anyways. But my point being is sometimes LUXION will end up selling some items out of his inventory, and well, either way, now you can end up getting the style items out of it. Speaking of which, we got the Shamrock and Pinata, and these are actually in limited quantity, which is an interesting change. Same with these allies right up here. These were event items, so this is something that I think is a good idea in practice, but doesn't really apply to a lot of these items, because I think that what they're going for is these Shamrock and Pinatas were a store item. They were really overpriced. And basically, it was a seasonal pinata that you could only end up getting the pinata mounts out of those pinatas, but you literally had to spend like hundreds of dollars in order to end up getting these mounts just because the drop chances were so bad, right? So now, because of that, these mounts were actually very expensive. Now we can buy them out of LUXION's inventory, but we can't over fluctuate the market with them. I mean, I'm sure there's still going to be lots of people buying these anyways, because last I checked, they were a decent price anyways. Yeah, so there's still 100k. That's, you know, that's worth picking up. We're on PC, so PC prices are a little bit different than console, but either way, I'd recommend you invest in them just because they will end up slowly going up in price because you can only buy 5 of them. However, they're 75 dragon coins a pop. This is why I would argue about these LUXION style stashes being probably the most valuable item LUXION's ever had. Because, I mean, granted, you're not going to be able to use these to profit off of, but at least you'll be able to get that extra mastery that you're missing off of a lot of the items that he has. So anyways, the Shamrock and Pinata is going to be this guy right here. He's got some nice video effects. You know, it's not like he's anything unique out of a pinata. He's just got a green trail, but then he's also got the LUT clovers, which is cool. No jumping video effects, unfortunately, but it's not like he's a bad mount by any means. Not great, but not bad. I mean, he's kind of all, like, at least he's more than just one color, like most of the things that the devs end up putting out, right? And then there's going to be the cast cart. Now, this is an item that normally you only get around Halloween, so I guess you can get it early. The fun fact is that if I'm not mistaken, this was actually an item that you could only exclusively get out of the cash shop during the Halloween event. That for some reason I think still shows up in the cash shop, even though it's just a mag rider. But you're basically just getting this for prestige. I remember even back in the day, I was very reluctant to actually buy this, even when back in the day you could actually buy something out of the cash shop and trade it with free-to-play players, which I still don't know why they don't have that. You know, they have the whole credit system and how you can trade credits and junk like that, but still, like, they should really just have it so that we can outright buy things and give them to free players. It makes sense. Like, they're still making money off of those items. There's no reason for them not to do it, but I guess that's too forward thinking. Anyways, the energetic emblem is another one you're probably going to want to pick up just because these are, you know, the emblems themselves are, can you please cooperate with me, game? The emblems are going to end up giving you 25 mastery, so again, you want them just because you're a mastery farmer. The energetic emblem is a decent one. Temporarily boosts your energy regeneration for a short duration. It doesn't say the specific stats as Trove usually does, but it's not bad. You won't really end up using it for end game stuff, but if you're finding that you're not generating enough energy just while fighting enemies and stuff like that, then possibly it could be useful for you. However, there's an issue with the way that energy regenerates in this game that prevents most of these emblems and anything that involves energy regen from being a good stat, and that's just because for the most part you can actually get, like you see we actually have a visual mod right here that shows we have 100 energy. If you end up using all of your energy, you can actually go into the negative, so you could potentially end up waiting until it regenerates up to 1 point, and then you use your alt or something, and it's going to go like -50. So it's going to take even longer for it to get to a point where you can cast your next ability, just because you have to wait until you end up getting up to at least 1 energy. And because of this, most of those energy tools are pretty much useless, you know, outside of just having like natural energy regen off of rings and stuff like that. But it's not that big a deal. It's just like, this isn't really meta or anything. Not that there is much meta to Trove. I'm just saying that if you don't go for these, it's not going to be a problem for you. So then the energizing one is going to restore 20 energy to all nearby allies, which would be okay, again, if this game had any meta whatsoever, but unfortunately it doesn't. Once you get to the end game, this item is absolutely useless. Could be good for a starting player, though. I would definitely recommend that, because if you're at the beginning of the game, you're finding that you're having to use a lot of your abilities constantly. You're highly dependent on them in order to actually do damage because you don't have your class gem yet or whatever. And this way you can end up farming with your friends and all be fairly effective when you're fighting like stronger enemies and stuff like that, right? So then we got the Arigato, which I think this used to be in a chaos chest or something, if I remember correctly, or I don't know, maybe it was a store item. It's just going to be a cat, but it does have really nice video effects that I think are just taken from the neon cat, or the neon cat, let's call it, right? The neon cat that you end up crafting, the meowts. I'm not exactly sure, but I just generally like the meowts. I like the way that they animate. It looks really smooth, especially compared to the Pemblock mounts, Pemblock dog mounts, the corgi mounts, whatever. So not bad, not great, but you know, you can buy an infinite amount of them. Why not, if you want pink things? And then there's gonna be this little ally right here that's floating around, which is actually a pretty cool one. I actually like it a lot. I like the style of it. You know, it actually just looks neat and looks like they actually put a little bit of detail into it, even though it's the whole heart theme thing. You know, like you can't really use it with that many styles in the game, unfortunately. But it was actually an ally from an event. It is definitely not my favorites. It was an ally from an event. It only gives you 10 mastery points, and it gives you 58 magic damage. That's not a percentage of magic damage. That's just 58, so that's useless for most everybody. But then you gain 1 health each time you damage an enemy, which isn't that bad. It's not that great, though, because considering that it's 60 dragon coins, if you're at the point where you can get 60 dragon coins, I would actually recommend that you probably just buy yourself the Prowling Shadow, honestly speaking, because it's just going to end up being better life regen ally for your, you know, for your functionality. Now, here's the thing, is because, again, it was an event item, it means that it's going to end up having a limited amount, and it is going to end up being a decent amount of flux. Now, the reason, like what I was saying earlier about me not necessarily agreeing with these items having a limited amount to them is, yes, these specific items work because they're event items, but the thing is that people are only overcharging for these because they're an event item and because they're rare, not because people actually want them. You know, you see when Luxion sells Dreadnought or sells wings and stuff like that, and suddenly everyone's all over them because it's actually an item that people want and that Luxion usually sells in limited supply. Now, speaking of limited supply, let's actually break that mold because the Golden Horde Dragon Souls have no limit. So act fast, folks. Within these 3 weeks, this is your time to get this dragon out of the way, because otherwise you gotta wait for like 2 or 3 or 4 months. I forget what the timing is on it, but basically you can only get a limited amount of these dragon souls for every time Luxion visits, and usually he only visits for 72 hours. So buy the dragon outright, get it done. You're gonna get a lot of mastery, and you're gonna get a lot of power rank, as well as a bunch of extra stats out of it. Even if you're only at the beginning of the game, it's still really good because you can end up getting this little dragonling ally. Let me actually see where does he show up. He shows up in the dragon section. This is actually one of the better starting allies for a physical character because it does 20% physical damage, increase cooldown, recovery speed by 10%, which is just reducing your cooldown. And then it also has a chance to blast them enemies with fireballs. It's a very, very good little ally to go for. This is going to be one of the Luxion mounts. This is going to be another one. As you periodically just kind of go through the amount of dragon souls, you're going to end up getting various items. You get a Luxion aura, you get Luxion mounts, and then finally you end up, oh gosh, I gotta get that. Finally you end up with the Flux Dragon himself, which is a beautiful mount to say the least. I wish that it was just him. But that's kind of like, you know, the fully fledged adult dragon, whatever, the legendary version of the dragon. Uses fireballs as opposed to one down from it just glides, but it doesn't really have his horns or anything. Anyways, that's already doing it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I gotta go and get this rampage done, so if you would please Hadouken that like button, sub, notification bell. You guys know how it all goes. There's all sorts of ways you can support me by scrolling down. You know, there's gonna be the way you can sponsor the channel or buy some of the merch. Otherwise, have yourselves a great day overall. Sayonara and stay epic, everybody.